And then I can say, okay, one perfumer is pretty suitable for that brand, and so and vice versa. So I could match them based on those scent profiles.
Welcome to Not a Perfumery podcast, where we talk about scents in relation to wellness, art, and innovation. My name is Tanya Mironova. I'm an olfactory art educator and your Denmark-based host. My guest for today's episode is Milan Pavlovic, a software engineer and fragrance enthusiast who specializes in artificial intelligence and data science. He owns Scentalytics, data analytics and AI startup focused on fragrance industry. Milan, you're welcome.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
I don't want some of our listeners to fall asleep when they hear data science and AI in one sentence in a podcast which is related to scents. So please, Milan, tell us in a few words, what is that you're working on?
I'm really passionate about data and fragrances as well. So when I started to gain interest in fragrances, this was around 2.5 years ago, I noticed that there are fragrances contain a lot of data. They can be described with a lot of different kinds of data. Since I'm coming from the software engineering and data science background, I started to notice that this data, which I'm seeing like when I'm reading about perfumes, I see that they have seasonal suitability, occasion suitability. They have different notes and accords and so on. So all this is inspired me to start thinking, okay, so if I collect enough of that data, would I be able to train some AI models which could help us to predict some characteristics of future fragrance products before they are created? So basically that's what I'm doing now in Scentalytics. I'm training different AI models which could tell us how could fragrances look like, smell like, feel like before they are created, based on some inputs like desired notes which will be used in the fragrance. I would like to do this in the opposite direction as well. So if we know what characteristics should our future fragrance have, we could enter them to the model. So the model could suggest us, for example, to suggest perfumers which notes and aromas could they use to create such a fragrance. And in this way, they could maybe be augmented with this initial knowledge from my models. They could quickly start making their creations. Of course, my goal is not to replace perfumers with the AI, not at all. I just want to help them to be even more creative and to use their time in more creative way.
I indeed already have had an experience with a friend of mine. I sent her one of your how it's better to say one of the parts of the application, the AI perfume creator.
Yes.
Because technically, if you have those models trained, and I don't think we should go very deep into that, but if you have those models trained, you could use them for different applications, right?
Yeah, and this AI perfume creator actually leverages six AI models which I trained, and it's more, you should use it for like demonstrational purposes of what those models can do. You can enter the notes there, and then you can see the characteristics of those perfume compositions, like the accords, then perfume type, then gender, weather, and daytime suitability. And yeah, this is actually the models I am talking about are those in this application.
Yeah. So, my friend, the one who I mentioned, she tried your application she's right now, we're recording this episode before the exams. So basically everyone is going to present something new during the exams, etc. And she had a new formula in mind. And of course, it's your Excel sheet. The thing is that she tried the new scent in your app. It showed 2 perfumes which were 90+% similar to her formula. And so she felt like wow at first, because like she could technically see who used it like that. But to us, I mean, like maybe to you, to her, to other users, it's clear that there are some good things about the possibility to just enter your formula and see in which perfumes it used. And there are bad things about knowing this information. If I may, I would like to firstly, before we go into the process of using AI, to ask how difficult it was to find enough data in the open sources.
This is actually the most important part when you are creating AI models. It's not about, I mean, to me, it's nice to train them, to tweak them. But actually the most important part is to find a good data and to prepare the data for the models. For now, I can say that I use data from publicly available web sources. I collected that data and I used the data to train those models. It's the data is available on sites like Perfumer.com or Fragrantica.com. But it's not so easy to collect the data, and sometimes that's not even allowed to do. Yeah, so this is kind of my, let's say, business secret for now, but this was actually the most challenging part actually to collect the data. But yeah, I used the publicly available data. I found a way of collecting it, and for now that's what I can say.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's, I mean, the data is available. But maybe people which have more technical background like me can get the data more easily.
Happy for you. So this part is clear. Returning to my friend's situation, so a perfumer sees that her formula is like 92 or 90 something percent similar to a number of perfumes. What does it mean to her based on the product you built?
So you're talking about the possibility of seeing the similar fragrances.
Yeah. Only this part for now. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you click on that button to show you these similar fragrances, basically I'm turning all fragrances into vectors. That's a more mathematical term. So vector is, let's say, a list of numbers. I do this based on notes you entered. And I am calculating the similarity scores, which you can see, with the one relatively simple mathematical technique, which can tell you how similar two things are when they are expressed as those vectors, as those lists of numbers. And if you have a high similarity, this means that your composition, your notes and accords are semantically similar to those products. To those notes and accords from the products which are on the list. Yeah. So this means that, for example, if you create, some kind of light summer citrus-based fragrance with bergamot, notes of bergamot, citruses, lemon, and so on, you will probably see the fragrances which smell in a similar way. Maybe not exactly. I mean, you cannot always have 100% similarity unless you pick exactly the same notes.
That was my next question.
From those fragrances, but you can just see the direction in which your scent will go in terms of semantics of notes and accords used.
Yeah, but by the semantic, we mean here that the people's perception.
Yeah, I mean, basically the perception of the scent and scent type.
What we receive the result means that semantically, as we say, like from the sense perspective, it's so in case of with my friend, like 90-something% similar to most of the people perceive this.
Yes, yes. I think that this perception is a good word to say, because probably the scents won't be the same. I mean, you cannot create, even if you have 100% match, you won't have the same scent. It's not that accurate. Yeah. But in the some kind of perception, as you said, of a perfume type or dominating accords, there will be a similarity. Yeah.
I see. Because for the 100% accuracy of this model, which is totally achievable, we need to have formula from all the perfume houses, all the perfumes.
Yeah, and if I can just add, those percentages you see for accords and other characteristics, those are just estimates from the models. Those are not the exact formulas which have to be used. Maybe it's important to notice that I didn't have the data about exact formulations and aromas because those are just the predictions, and the predictions can be expressed as probabilities. So those numbers are also post-processed, so they fit a rounded chart, pie chart. In some they sum up to 100%, but for example, if you see 10% of powdery acrid, this means that there is some powdery acrid there, and okay, you need to compare this amount of it with other numbers to see the relationships between possible dominating acids and so on. But this is not the exact formula you have to use. So this is more like just for the comparison purposes of which acid could be more. I mean, which could dominate more or less. So those are not and the same applies for other charts. If you see, for example, that 60% is for the unisex gender, this means that this is probably a unisex scent. For example, if after this, if it has 20% on the male side, then this could be interpreted as it would probably lean to females. But those are just the directions, not the exact rules.
I see. And probably by this point, listeners are just thinking, well, why it's hard to have data? Why it's hard to have exact formula? Maybe you could just comment, because I know why, but for the listeners, because I think you would be the happiest engineer if you had all the data.
Oh yeah. So the dream of every data scientist is to have as much high quality data as possible, but that's actually never the case in the real scenarios. I was actually surprised that even, those web sources which I used actually had solid amount of data for let's say those basic purposes for fragrance users, which explore the notes and accords, because I think that this data can be the fragrance producers actually they share that data with others to describe their products. So from this perspective, that's it's understandable that this data exists. And regarding the formulas, those are probably their business secrets, and they do not share this because they don't want to be copied by others and so on.
Yeah, they just copy each other, but it's a different story. They do it with other methods, not data science, right?
Yeah, I mean, I look on this through the data science perspective. So I saw that some people do share, like they call them open source formulas, where they actually write a list of exact ingredients and the amounts of them used in some perfumes. But I don't know. This kind of data isn't. From my perspective, you cannot find it so easily as the one I used, because I used mostly the data from product descriptions, from that perspective, it's understandable to me that we have a lot of. I mean, let's say I'm saying a lot, but. I don't know what this means to other. What can this mean to other people? But to me, it's actually a lot, because I think there are not so many places on the internet where you can find more.
One of the things which I believe very special about what you do is that you A, collected data, B, made it a little bit already available for everyone. I mean, the AI perfume creator tool.
Yeah.
But I believe you have, this is only part of what you do, but Scentalytics, other products and other ideas of how to use these data, apart from the publicly available, but more customized ones. What are those?
I could create scent profiles for different brands and even perfumers. I could also I could maybe suggest which perfumer is more suitable for which brand to make fragrances. Because if you have, these vectors I was talking about, they enable us to do different combinations and to compare. For example, I have vectors for each fragrance from my database, and I know which fragrance was produced by which producer or brand actually. So I can create a scent profile for each brand by averaging those vectors together to create a single vector which represents a brand. But I can also do that for a perfumer by using vectors from fragrances a perfumer created. And then I can do the same thing, like I have show similar fragrances in the AI Perfume Creator app. So there I'm comparing your vector from your notes with all other fragrances from the database. But in the same way, I could compare vectors from perfumers and from brand. And then I can say, okay, one perfumer is pretty suitable for that brand, and so and vice versa. So I could match them based on those scent profiles.
If I understand correctly, the thing is that each scent is a vector, right?
Yeah.
And if you look at the perfumer's profile, do you also see a number of vectors based on the scents he created?
I can see fragrance scents and fragrances he or she created, and then I have if I'm able to create the vectors of those fragrances, then I can see multiple vectors for a single perfumer for each perfume. Yeah. And then I can create a single one or couple of ones based on the whole set.
Seems like I need to revisit my data science course, which I've given up some time ago. But does it so that now you have a sort of a database of the most prominent probably perfumers? Have you been looking at this portfolio? I understand it doesn't look like I'm showing. It's not probably this, it's that or something. But have there been perfumers whose works are in all vectors very different?
Yeah, some vectors could be very, let's say, very different from some typical ones, let's say. And yeah, this is, we could calculate the similarity match with others. But there's one drawback of that method, that if you use a lot of different vectors to create a single one, then it's questionable what did you get as the end result. Maybe this result cannot be applied in that way. Yeah, maybe it cannot be applied in that way that I think it can, because we mixed up too many different things in a single thing. And then we have something what's maybe not applicable to that use case. But yeah, this vector thing is all this started in natural language processing, where words were represented as vectors in the computer, and that's what is happening now again when we have these AI chatbots like ChatGPT and others. So they are heavily using vectors of words, and I use that same technique to create vectors for fragrances. And I think that the same applies as in NLP. If you can create a single vector from a book which has, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of words, but then this particular vector doesn't have some kind of semantics that can be easily understandable. So that's probably the same for it. The same could happen for fragrance vectors. So if you create a vector out of, I don't know, couple of hundreds of, or maybe even more, thousands of perfumes, and then this single one maybe is not. It doesn't point in some meaningful direction.
So yeah, you could, though you're having a lot of data, you are not getting anywhere basically. So it's better than in this, if you unite all these data. So it's basically better to look at it separately.
Yes, exactly. In smaller, maybe in smaller subsets.
Okay, yeah. Subset is a new word. Vector is a new word. I mean, like, our listeners gonna kill us probably by this point. Yeah, going back to the practical applications. So we know that we could, like, I'm an owner of a small brand. I have no one working there. So I could come to you and you could recommend me a perfumer based on what I want to achieve.
Yes.
What else could you recommend to me?
I could summarize the information from your existing perfumes, and I could compare this information with the averages from the industry. For example, I could see how your average usage of notes and accords compares to the industry from, let's say, like last 5 years, or some other time span if you want. And I can compare your brand with other brands if you want, and to see what are similarities and what are differences. This is a more analytical and statistics based approach. I don't use a lot of let's say fancy data science stuff like vectors here, but I could do those comparisons. So to analyze your brand and compare your brand with other brands to see how similar or different they are, and also then you could see how are your current characteristics aligned with your goals and what you have to change or do differently if you need.
If I have any goals,
I could show you the trends some trends in the industry also, as in terms of used notes, accords, what do people like more, what do they don't like maybe, and so on.
I remember the infographics you put on LinkedIn about the words which are most the words which are like everyone shared these infographics. So the words which are used the most in the fragrance industry, like not in the fragrance industry probably, but in the perfume descriptions.
In the names, in the titles.
In the titles
of perfumes.
So rose and oud dominated, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, Milan could show me trends, and he shows me trends. And I'm a kind of person which, when I see trends, I start thinking like, maybe I should do something the opposite. The thing is that like with Angel, the perfume, Olivier Cresp was probably like, if he had a tool at his time which showed him that this is not the trendy perfume and we are not accepting it to the market, this perfume would have never entered the market because he did something new. And I think like it's my fault, but I just want to hear what you was thinking about when you've created this possibility is that for me, the value of knowing trends in any industry is about understanding what I could do a little bit differently while relying on the trends, so that it would be something super cool.
Yeah.
What do you think? What's going to be the most common application for your clients?
Yeah, I mean, those things which I can analyze could be used exactly as you mentioned. So you could see what is happening now and do the actions which you want to maybe to create something what can happen in the future. And that something is not similar to the things which are happening now. I would not say to anybody, "Oh, you have to do this like this and this." I could just say what the current state is, and the clients are free to do whatever they want. I don't consider myself as some kind of advisor. I'm only showing what is happening now and what are the facts from the data. And yeah, but you could, I mean, everyone has its own freedom to do whatever they want. And if you want to do something what is trendy now, you could do that. And if you want to create something opposite, you can also do that, because that's actually how the trends are changed. So once I hear that a trend is your friend, but some people add until it lasts. So yeah, if you want to be ahead of the trends, then you definitely actually need to do something differently, because the trends are cyclical. And something what is not trendy at the moment can be trendy in the future. And so, but what I can do from the data, I could say, okay, this is the current situation, and that's what I see in my data. And then I could, I mean, again, it depends on the goals you have.
Yeah, why did you collect these data in the first place, right? Because if you want to make market analysis, then your data is just, because I did it manually and it was pretty awkward. But I think that if I had your power at that time, my graphs would look differently, and it's just so awkward what you do without the data.
Yeah, I mean, the data can help, definitely. I like when I have the data, so I have some kind of proof that I can say, okay, that that's not something that I came up with randomly, but that's what I found in the data. So
yes, I totally share it, because I know that a lot of new brands, they go to a shop and they just smell some perfumes and say, oh, it's probably the most common trends. However, it might be the most common trends of this particular perfume shop, or of this country, or I don't know. So but technically you are everyone as a human have very limited idea of objectability. Is it the word we could use? Yeah. So what is true and what is not. And also we have a lot of mental tricks, which sometimes give not very, I would say, truthful result. So yeah, it's cool to have something which would support your idea of something or will reject, or maybe you shouldn't have any idea before coming to your agency.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have ideas, I could show you what is happening now, and maybe I could inspire you to have some.
Yeah,
then,
totally.
Yeah.
Now we know that we could find a perfumer, we could find trends, we could find similar brands based on the data.
Yeah.
Maybe some other services your clients could count for.
If you want to produce fragrances, I cannot do that now. But if you are a fragrance producer with the data with exact aromas and formulas you used in your previous fragrance products, I could create custom AI models which could say, okay, if you want a fragrance with these notes, just just the list of notes as they are in the app, okay, then I could predict the exact amounts of ingredients to create something like this, and then the perfumers could start with that, and then they could test those formulations further. So they don't have to start from scratch, but they could start from this point, from those predictions, and then they could refine them. So, but that's more for bigger fragrance producers which have those data, because I don't have it. So, yeah, so I could create some custom models for their own specific use cases.
You do expect different, or you do have different categories of clients. So if I got it correct, started from small houses, or even, I don't know, like marketing agencies, probably.
Yes.
To creme de la creme. So the houses which have a lot of data.
Yeah. So, because the data, I mean, if we are talking about AI, the more quality data you have, the better. So I think that there's a higher probability that the bigger fragrance producers have more data. I mean, maybe that's not a rule, but this is my intuition. And so I could work with smaller niche perfume houses to show them the trends, and maybe to recommend them perfumers, as I said, or with big producers which do have more data, to create custom AI solutions for them.
So my intuition says that some of your AI models would be probably in demand at the big houses. People want to have these data and want to look at them customized once they could afford it. So that's why I think it's very special about what you do. It's just a tool which you could develop to any direction. That's the beauty of it. Yeah,
I mean, it depends. It depends on the data. It depends on and it depends on your goals. So, I think I could do the collaborations with both sides, let's say, with big ones and with smaller ones.
Because I believe that if it's the right tool, it could be used differently.
Yeah, it's important that if you want something customized, then you need to have your own data. And if you don't have it, then I can show you what are the trends from my data. And but everything is actually, the data is a key. So on both sides we need data. So it depends who has it and how much.
Yeah, the new gold. Milan, what are the best ways for the listeners and for the customers to find more information about your products and what you do?
Well, I'm the most active on LinkedIn, and I'm trying to create a weekly posts there about different data insights I found in my data. I don't have others' data, but then I do analysis, and I post the results there. So I'm active there. You can visit my website. I described some of those services which we talked about here also there. And in the future, I plan to go to some exhibitions and congresses. Right now, I'm a little bit busy with some other things, but that's also the plan for the future. So I do have the other social media as well, but I'm most active on LinkedIn now.
Yeah, we will share all the links, definitely. Before we wrap up, I wanted to ask you a few blitz questions. Those are just, you should give very quick answers.
Okay.
So the first one, favorite perfume scent?
Something aquatic, like the sea and citruses, I think, yeah.
Do you think about, it's not on the blitz, but do you think about the way aquatic vector look like at this point or not when you're saying
it can be translated into vector.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, but I actually don't think in terms of vectors when I'm thinking about scents.
Thanks
Yeah,
God, we
so
now know that.
I'm like any other people. Yeah, I have visual associations in my head, not the numerical ones. So
Beautiful. Right, the second one. One word to describe your approach to data analytics.
systematic.
It's not getting easier, but okay. The dream client company at the moment.
Oh, that's a tough one. Let's say one Italian fashion designer.
Wow. Wow, not bad. All the fashion designers in Italy are right now started thinking, who is that one lucky one? Number 4. What do you do to unwind after a busy day at Scentalytics?
Yeah, I go to the gym.
Very good.
Yeah.
I very appreciate it. And number 5. If you could analyze data for any other industry, like not for the fragrance industry, and you have, it's just adding now to what you said, the beautifully collected data, which you could just like use for any model training, what would be the industry or maybe the type of application?
Maybe the data from stock trading. But yeah, I mean that would be more from. I would like to see if I can develop some useful models for stock predictions, for stock movements predictions. But I mean that's from more again from more analytical approach. But yeah. I'm not sure for nothing came to my mind now.
But this one is very practical, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, Milan, thank you so much.
Thank you very much for the talk. It was very nice to talk to you, and it passed very quickly. So
Yeah, it's always like that. Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Milan, you're so clever. I mean,